Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome to the stream. Let me know if my volume is all good. Here for round 3 of Hyper Motorsports. Yay comms. Don't say that too soon, with this could all go downhill from here. There we go, we got a last driver picking the car. I think we're expecting one more, but we'll be getting underway shortly. Oh no, voice chat suspended. What are we gonna do? The stream's finished, guys. I'm sorry, we can't do it anymore. Not the voice chat, God. It's a calamity. Alrighty, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for qualifying at Austria. We're doing a short qualifying, so one 18-minute session, then a 50% race. About half a grid here today. for Hyper Motorsports. And if you're in the stream, get your early predictions in the chat for me, because I have no idea what to expect. I'm a guest commentator. My name is GB Sanderson. And I've basically been bundled in the back of a van by Ryan and forced to commentate this stream tonight. I have definitely been held at gunpoint by Ryan. I normally commentate for a league called WHF. We have Fun F1. But here I am tonight, back actually in the hills of Austria. We were here at the weekend, so you guys have come a couple of days after us. And we're ready to go racing. Let's get some info on the screens. First mile on the track looks like it's going to be a Haas. Indeed it is. We'll stick following around Harrison for the time being. You can see a 10-car grid for this qualifying session. I believe we're going to be having at least one more driver joining us for the race, as a couple have qualifying bans, but the first man who's going to be setting a lap time this session will be Harrison in the Haas. So far this season, 2 races, a P4 and a P5. We'll see what he can do here at Austria. It's not going to be a good start. It's going to be invalidated out of the final corner, which invalidates his next lap as well. So instead we'll ride on board with the Ferrari Stun, their Vegas special livery. We'll see how Howard gets on. Let me know if all the volume's okay as well with the game audio and myself, as we see Harrison coming through the end of sector 1 as 16 flat first sector. As we're at the highest point of the track here on the run down from turns 3 down to turn 4. Heavy braking for the right hand hairpin. Effort to use all the track without invalidating. Howard in the Ferrari didn't race in the first round at Bahrain. Second round though, he did win it by near enough 3 seconds from second place. We'll see if he can continue his good form into this round. Across the line, he'll set the initial pace. It'll be a 104.3 from the Ferrari on the soft tyres. Next man up to the line will be the Alfa Romeo. It's going to be crazy. He uses all the track on the exit there, and up to the line it's going to go P2 and 104.6 behind him. Got a Mercedes. Stepping pig goes P3, 106.3. And second Mercedes about to start his flying lap. Will ride on board with Albini. see how his lap goes nicely through turn 1, and very easy to invalidate on the exit there, but he keeps the speed well as he climbs up the hill through the flat out kink at turn 2. Heavy braking at the top into this sharp right-hander. Gets the power down nicely and manages to keep the rear end intact there. Goes purple sector 1 according to the game at least. Afterwards goes the left-handers of 6 and 7. Gotta get close to the apex on the inside. Does well there, uses all the runoff available to him on the exit and flicks it through the right-hander at 7 again. Purple sector 2. The game is to be believed. The Mercedes is on for a quick time if he can keep it together through this tough last section. Use all the track on exit out the final corner up to line. Second Mercedes goes quickest from 104.1. Very good bank lap there from Albini. Being told that it is going to be a slight chance of rain at the end of quali, but also being told that it's fully dry, so we have no idea over the weather. We will take it as it comes. For the time being, we can see a lot of drivers out here setting laps at the moment. Got Ravi Spaghetti has just set a time of 104.9 on medium tyres, it's worth noting, so that's a very good bank lap on the slower compound. Watch out for him on the softs later on in the session. The Haas of Harrison, who we saw invalidate earlier on in the session, coming into the pits at the moment, but he has set a time as well for 104.6. It's fractionally quicker than the Alfa Romeo in 4th place. Out on track at the moment, Stepping Pig is going to cross the line and slightly improve his time, I believe, there. But remains on a 106 dead. Now the man to watch, Hyper Igniter, currently P9, yet to set a lap time, starting his first lap of the session as we see one of the other drivers joining. First sector of a 16.2 by Hyper. It says it's a purple, but I can almost guarantee it's not, because I'm sure we saw quicker earlier. We'll stay watching along with the McLaren here as he heads down through the hairpin at turns 4 and 5. Sticking to the right hand side of the track before sweeping through the left as they climb back down the hill through 6 and 7. Again, a purple sector 2 according to the game. We'll wait and see how true that is. In fact, we won't. He invalidates on the exit there. Going through that fast right-hander at turn 8, just used a bit too much of the track and I'll have to go for another run here, which he is going to do. Had he finished that lap, it would have been a 104.5. It would have been good enough for 3rd place there, so strong pace from the McLaren. We are hearing rain in 10 to 15 minutes apparently, so drivers may well want to be getting laps done sooner rather than later in this session, given the imminent arrival of the rain. A ride on board now with the Alfa Romeo of Crazy. Currently sat P4 on a 104.6 as he comes to the end of sector 2. He's going about a 10th of a second quicker so far, which, if he continues at that sort of pace, would jump him up into 3rd place. Flicking it through the 2 right-handers that close out the lap using all the track on exit. DRS open up to the line. And he remains P4, but does improve to within 7 thousandths of a second of Harrison in 3rd place. So yellow flags in sector 2, that's because the McLaren of Hyper is backed off of this lap time. He's decided not to finish it off. Next crop up to the line's got to be a Haas, but he's starting his lap, so the next one to finish a lap will be the Ferrari of Howard, currently sat in P2 on a 104.3, improves but stays in second place, about half a tenth off provisional pole, and improves to a 104.2. Almost every driver out on track at the moment, bar the two that have retired early on to serve their qualifying bans. We've got an Aston Martin about to start a flying lap, as well as a Mercedes of Albani just behind him as well on track. But for the time being, we'll follow the number 91 official JE. Into sector 1, marginally down on his personal best here, as I think the Mercedes behind him might well have backed off of their lap time. We're watching the man in 5th place at the moment as he comes on the short run between turn 5 and turn 6, hugging the curb before swinging it in and heading back down the hill. Very easy to invalidate on this section, but he's keeping it together on this run so far. He's been knocked down to P6 as Ravi Spaghetti's Williams improves into 5th place there. 3 drivers in the same half a tenth of a second there between P3 and P5. Can JE join them? He can go better than that. In fact, he goes P3 with 104.5. Brilliant lap by the Aston Martin, but just look at that cluster of cars there from P3 down into P6. You've got just a tenth of a second separating 4 drivers there. Ridiculously close between these guys. Next up to the line is going to be Harrison. He is currently up on his time. As he comes up to the line, he will improve. Goes P2 at only 9 thousandths off provisional pole with just under 7 minutes left on the clock. He set a purple sector 3 on that lap time, and the Haas makes his way onto the front row. Also got Pig coming up to the line. Can he improve on his time in P7? He can improve, but he'll remain in 7th place. 105.7, joining that midfield cluster there. And continuing to make it ridiculously tight between these drivers. As we see everyone heading back into the pits now, they'll probably be going for one more run before the rain arrives, as we see JE just tapping the pit wall on his way in there. As Albani goes quicker. A 104.109, an improvement of about 400ths of a second. It might be good enough for pole, but you can just see how close that grid is at the moment. A tenth of a second between the top 3, and not even that between the 3 drivers behind them as well. If we look at the gap to the leader there, just look at those times. 500ths of a second to P2, another 400ths back to P3. And then you've got that cluster of 4, 5 and 6 together as well. Everyone in the pits or on their way back to the pits, apart from this man, Hyper, at the moment on an out lap with 5.5 minutes left to go in this session. And we will ride on board with the McLaren man, currently sat down in P9 at the moment. And we'll see what sort of time he's able to produce on his flying run in a moment. There we go, riding on board with the McLaren for what will no doubt be one of his last runs of quali, if not his last one. Uses all the track through turn 1 there and gets a nice exit as he climbs up the hill through the flat out left-hander of turn 2. Isn't even really a turn if we're being honest. Braking hard into turn 3. Going a bit deep there, that will cost him on his lap, but it will definitely be an improvement on his banker so far as he heads down the second DRS straight here between turns 3 and 4. Hard braking again, 100 metres out, 4th gear, dropping down into 3rd for the turn-in, using all the track on exit, gets it back over to the right hand side before sweeping it left through 6 as they head back down the hill, uses all the runoff area, going right up to the right white line as he flicks it once again, loses the rear end a little bit midway through there, through turn 7, but controls it through 8, and now we power down towards turn 9, flick it through the right hander, use all the track on exit, and the same again for turn 10, using all the track available to him, open the DRS up to the line, goes P7 with a 104.7, and he's just 6/10 off pole position as it stands with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. Next man coming up to the line is going to be the Alpine of Coro Outbreak. Is he going to be able to improve on his time? He does, but only marginally. Goes P8. It's an 8/10 of a second improvement, but it doesn't quite get him off that 4th row of the grid. And the Alpine driver sitting there in P8 as it stands. Next man up to the line on a lap's going to be Ravi Spaghetti, but he's not going to be improving, so he will go again on this lap. So next up instead will be the Aston Martin of JE. He does look like he's marginally improving, and he does by nearly 1/10 of a second, but stays in P4 for the time being with his lap time. Next man to watch, let's find them. I believe it is going to be Stepping Pig up next. Or Coro Outbreak. No, Outbreak heads into the pits, so we'll ride on board with the second Mercedes. Currently sat in P9 on a 105.7. Slightly missing the apex through turn 9, but does well through 10. Opens the DRS up to the line. Will remain P9. Does improve to a 105.5, but remains at the back of the pack for the time being. Crazy, the next man up to the line. As he flies out the final corner. And goes P4, an improvement of 2/10 of a second there to get himself onto the 2nd row of the grid. As behind him we have laps coming in from Ravi, doesn't improve. In front of him I think we had Howard, but I'm not sure if he'd actually set a lap time. Hyper has invalidated. The Haas of Harrison does improve, but remains in P2 I believe, and has invalidated. So next up, once again, it'll be JE, who is not improving on this lap. And then you got Albini starting his one. So let's see how the Mercedes, currently sat on provisional pole, gets on. We'll keep our eye out for the other drivers on the grid. As you can see, not long left in the session now, just over a minute to go, I'm afraid. To see a yellow flag from a spin for Stepping Pig by the looks of it. Yeah, you can see the gravel on his tyres there, just getting out of the way of drivers on a fast lap. Speaking of which, out the final corner comes a Ferrari, currently sat in P3. What can he do? He goes quickest! A 103.9, fantastic lap from Howard there. Gets himself on provisional pole with not long left in the session. Next man up the line is going to be Harrison, as I think we just caught a glimpse of the Mercedes there as we flick through, facing the wrong direction. Harrison doesn't improve. Albini's definitely had a moment, so yellow flags, and he is way down on his personal best at the moment. As JE comes up to the line, will he have time to start another lap? He will, so he will go again. Unless, no, he invalidated at the final corner, so he will not go again. Coro Outbreak, I think we just saw some spots of rain. We do see some spots of rain, so I do not expect to see any improvements at the end of this. As you can see, the grip levels have completely gone here at the end of the session. The rain is coming down. Let's see if we can get any sort of improvement. Ravi Spaghetti's 7/10 down. He's not improving. Howard, is he improving on his time? He's 14 seconds down. Harrison, 3/10 down. Hyper, can't see his time, but well, he is well down. He's already 1 minute and 5 seconds into his lap. So I think that will be it for qualifying. just wait for all the cars to finish the session, but with the rain coming down here in the Styrian Mountains, I think it's going to be the Ferrari of Howard who will line up on pole position for the race around Austria. It's an improvement. He goes one better than he managed last time out. Howard lined up P2 at Austria after qualifying and went on to win that race. Today he's starting P1. We'll wait and see where he can finish. But you can see there the rain absolutely coming down. No dry line. DRS has been disabled, so it's full wet conditions now. And we're just waiting for a couple of drivers to pull into the pit lane. There we have it. There is the end of your qualifying session. So as we say, it'll be Howard on pole for the Austrian Grand Prix in round 3 of Hyper Motorsports, and alongside him on the front row will be the Mercedes of Albini, just under 0.2 of a second between the top two in today's quali session. Elite Harrison makes the second row of the grid alongside Crazy in 4th, JE in 5th with Ravi Spaghetti in P6. Then comes Hyper in 7 with Cora Outbreak in the Alpine P8 and Steppin' Pig rounding out the grid of your qualifiers, with then 3 drivers not setting a lap, Leon, Flame and CLM rounding out our 12 drivers today. And let's see what will happen in this race. Get your predictions in the chat if you have any. It looks dry for the time being. We'll wait and find out if there is going to be any rain in this session. But at least to my very untrained eye, there is no rain falling at the moment. So we're definitely having a dry start. Got a prediction from Flame for a Howard win at Albini P2, so thinking a pretty typical Austria sort of race with not many overtakes, going by that prediction. Certainly in real life at least, Austria is very common for the pole sitter to go and win. And here we go, we'll wait for the 5 red lights here at Austria. And we go racing at Spielberg. Howard gets away well from P1. He's going to hold the lead into turn 1. We'll wait and see if there's any overtakes further back. We've got a side-by-side moment for Ravi and JE there heading through turn 1. But it's the Ferrari who leads the way up the hill for the time being. We can see here going side-by-side further back in the mid-pack as an AlphaTauri sends it down the inside there in the background. Trying to get through. That looked like Flame trying to make up positions further back. But at the front, we've had a change of the lead as they're still going side by side. In fact, Howard looking to make his way back through on the Mercedes of Albini through turn 4, and he's going to make it stick. So Howard regaining the lead after losing it moments before, but Albini sends it up the inside. There's contact between the two leaders. Albini's round and he DNFs. Oh, there's a massive crash in the background. Bits of carbon fibre flying all over the place there. Yellow flags in sector 2. I'm surprised there's no safety car there. But contact between the two on the front row. And Flame's prediction in the chat that it will be chaos has certainly come true. Albini out of the race early on. let's get some details on tyres and everything like that at the moment for sure. As we can see, we've got JE into the pit lane with no front wing there, so a definite front wing change for him. Strapping on a fresh set of the Red Wall soft tyres. We've also got Hyper out of the race as well by the looks of it. Oh, it looks like in fact we're going to have a restart. By the looks, I'm just reading chat at the moment. It's looking like a restart. So after the drama of that first race there, it does look like a restart. We're just trying to find out why. But there's certainly chaos going on further back as we see more carbon fibre flying everywhere. And there's a car stranded in the middle of the road. It's definitely a restart going on here. But now we find out why the restarts. For some reason, formation lap, safety car, and red flags are all off. So the settings were wrong. And that's why we'll be having a restart. Just a bit of technical error there in setting up the lobby. But in the meantime, we'll just catch a breath after what that was at the start. Now we'll just wait a few minutes, give everyone a chance to get the lobby back up and running. And now we're just waiting still. We just got grid to set. Everything like that. Hope everyone's done what they need to do in this time. They've been and got a drink, a snack, been to the toilet, whatever you need to do. Albani, you certainly have been saved after that. We just saw the rear end of your car appear in the camera shot. And that was it. And then just suddenly, the rest of your car just got thrown around. It's certainly a dramatic... yeah, it's definitely not ideal. Not an ideal way to start a race, but you've got a second chance here. I'm not sure if we actually saw the turn 3 move on the stream, Albani, unfortunately. Because we're watching an out, I think it was Flame or what the AlphaTauris in the background absolutely sent it up the inside of about 3 people. But I'll be sure to make sure we're sticking on board with you going up to turn 3 this time around, so no pressure. Got 8 people in the stream at the moment. Hello, everybody. Not sure if all of you are drivers, but if you're not and you don't already, do what I'm about to do with my personal Twitch and drop a follow. We are just waiting at the moment for the grid to be set. We're having a second run of this race. Had to be restarted as some of the settings hadn't been quite set correctly. If you are just tuning in at the moment, we've got a grid of, I believe it's going to be 12 or 13 drivers. There might be one extra joining. My name is GB Sanderson. You can see me there on the player list. And I normally commentate for a league called We Have Fun F1. But tonight, as I said at the start of the stream, Ryan bundled me into the back of a white van at gunpoint and told me, you are commentating on this league tonight, and well, here I am. I will be attempting to communicate in Morse code during the stream to negotiate my my release. As I do have a race myself this weekend with We Have Fun. Shameless plug for a second league there. But tonight the focus is fully on these guys, and we've had one hell of an exciting qualifying session. Back and forth with who was going to get pole in that one. We're waiting for the grid for this race, and judging by the first lap last time around, I'm sure we're in for an exciting race as well. You can see the sun has come out there on the left-hand side of the screen, so I'm assuming that means it was going to be a fully dry race had we gone racing last time around. Just try and get one last driver in by the looks of it. And now we wait. See there, we've got a 13th driver joining the grid. We've got one of the Red Bulls now, Erin Demir. And this is his first race of the season. He was not involved at Bahrain or at Australia. So his first appearance of this season in Tier 1. Here with Hyper Motorsports. Now we will start loading back in. And here we go. Back on the grid here at Austria. At the Red Bull Ring. Max Verstappen's hunting ground these past few years. 4 wins for the Dutchman around this track. Most wins of any driver around this circuit as well, which is impressive. 4.3 kilometres of circuit through the Styrian Mountains. Or in the Styrian Mountains, should we say. It doesn't quite go through them. We've just got the formation lap to come first. So while they do that, let's have a look at what tyres everyone is going for. So the front 3 all opting for the yellow wall mediums, with Crazy on the second row on the hards. We also have one soft tyre being picked by the McLaren of Hyper in 7th place, so he'll certainly be one to watch in those opening few laps, see how much progress he can make on the fastest compound of tyre. drivers coming back up onto the grid, and we will be going racing here at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria soon enough for sure. You can see everyone weaving dramatically, getting some life into their tyres, getting them nice and heated up early, trying not to do what Crazy did and disqualify themselves by pulling too far forward in their grid spots. A cloudy day here in Austria. It looks like it's going to be overcast for the vast majority of this race. And now we wait with the most weird camera angle I have ever seen for a race start. So we'll have to ride on board with Howard for the time being as we head up to turn 1. Here we go. The Ferrari retains the lead yet again. We're going side by side, further back, as we look for any drama coming out of turn 1. There certainly is some. Stepping Pig has retired in the background, been forced out wide, and we have a safety car already. Mercedes looked like he got forced out wide into the wall potentially there at turn 1. Didn't quite see the cause of that one. But we have a safety car early on here at Austria. We barely made it up to turn 3 and we're down to 12 men as it stands. Albani reminded me it's his first race of the season as well. It's a few people's first race of the season tonight. Albani, Crazy, JE and Demir all haven't featured yet this season, all hoping for a positive result. Unfortunately, Stepping Pig has featured this so far this season, but he also did finish in that race. So an unfortunate second DNF in a row for the Mercedes man. So I'm sure he'll be back next time out. This time next week actually, Friday the 8th of December, they'll be racing around Zandvoort for round 4 of this season. A few people saying they forgot setups unfortunately, or didn't get them quite finished. As we see a bit of action in the pit lane. You see a Haas there, the Alpha Tauri getting a nose change and strapping on a set of medium tyres. And I'm not sure what tyres these guys were on at the start, so all of them have changed. We've got Harrison in the Haas and CLM in the Ferrari, both going for hards from mediums, and Flame going to mediums from the hards. Now, looking at for all those drivers, there'll be barely anywhere as we see Flame taking the MotoGP route there. But yeah, we luckily for those drivers, if they are wanting to go back to the tyres they started on, they won't have much wear on them, so there is still the option to use that set of mediums or hards for the drivers. We're hearing there's been an overtake under the safety car between Coro and Hyper here. So we'll see if that is resolved behind the safety car or whether that gets resolved as it comes in. Knowing what this game is like, it might be wiser to just give the position back when the safety car comes in, but we'll see how the two of them resolve it. We know the safety car can be a bit of a glitchy thing on the F1 games. As we see this interesting camera angle again. It really wants us to look at that angle. Stepping Pig not happy with his session. Unlucky, mate. It's a tough break for you there. Out at turn 1 is never what you want in a race. But as we said a minute ago, I'm sure you'll be back in Zandvoort and go for a stronger weekend there. You're only 3 rounds into the season, and with the last round only getting 70% points and a lot of people only turning up for one of the races so far this season, you're still well and truly in there. Hearing off Flame that it was a spin in turn 1 that caused the retirement. As we see safety car in this lap. So that means the lead Ferrari, the man in the lead of this race so far, as he has been since the start, given we only lasted a few corners before the safety car period. Howard will be leading us away. He gets to control the pace. He gets to decide when to launch it, when to put his foot down. And he controls the pace here as the safety car comes in. We've got a 5-second penalty further back. We've got 2 5-second penalties ongoing between Aaron and Harrison at the moment. Our main focus is here at the front. When will Howard launch it? Right on board with him for the time being as he leaves to warm up his tyres, and now he goes. He's away looking over that rear wing. He hasn't got the best of launches, if we're being honest. He's got a few tenths of a second. It will allow him to defend the lead into turn 1, but it's definitely not as clean a restart as he would have liked. They have escaped Crazy in behind in P3, who is already out of the DRS of these two, but well, there's still certainly a battle going on here as we see retirement in the background. We've got another safety car, and there's absolute carnage further back. And I'm not sure what's happened to my game there. What's going on here? We'll try and figure out what's happened here. We saw a massive crash. A massive crash in the background, and then we've come to this, and now we've got nothing. And we're waiting. Are we waiting for a race to restart? I don't know what's going on. I have never oh, a red flag. I forgot the red flags were even in this league. I'm used to commentating on a league that didn't have red flags. That is my bad. So we have a red flag here. And we are down to 10 runners as CLM and Erin DNF'd in that incident. We'll go back to 5 red lights here at Spielberg, and we will go racing once again, and it is a terrible start by the Alfa Romeo Crazy, who immediately drops down into 6th place. Howard will keep the lead once again. He's had 3 great starts here so far in this race, but Crazy is the man to watch. He's dropping all the way down to 7th here. An horrible start for the Alfa Romeo there, as he drops further and further back, but at the front, they're going side by side. The leaders, Albini, try to send it up the inside into turn 3. Doesn't quite manage it. But we'll go on board with him. He's in the slipstream on the run down to turn 4. The slow right-hand hairpin, slightly downhill. He'll try and do the switchback as we've got a yellow flag in behind. Big spin in the background. And it's JE who's facing the wrong direction on the grass. It looks like he's lost a bit of nose cone as well. His front left nose cone appears to be missing there, but there was contact, and all this has done is allowed the front 2 to get away more and more. Howard leading Albini by 3 tenths of a second, but further back is where the battles are going on as Kuro look to go side by side with Hyper there into turn 9. A bit of an unconventional place to try and overtake, but for the time being, Howard leading us away as we start lap 7 here, and he's got a nice advantage on the man behind him. We'll see if a move can be made on the run up the hill into turn 3. Albini's in the slipstream. Who will emerge in the lead? It's going to be Howard. He stays ahead. A couple of attempts separating them still. DRS not yet enabled, of course. So this is all down to engine power, setups and battery. And the front 2 remaining as they are. Further back, Crazy is really getting involved with people here as they go side by side through turn 4. He drops a place down to P8. He was looking to make the move around the outside of the Alpine for P6, and in the end it's cost him. He drops 1 place further back as Flame on the mediums is looking all over. Big snap there from the Alfa Romeo going through turn 7. But here comes the Alpha Tauri of Flame. He's looking to make a move on the Alpine, all in that Alpine's rear diffuser. As we see, oh, big moment for the McLaren. He's gone off wide. Oh, and there's a big collision as the McLaren comes back on track. Drive-through penalty for Hyper there. Didn't quite see it from where we were looking. I was looking more interested in the battle going on with crazy but big collision going on there as Flame and Coro are swapping positions into the turn 3 right-hander. Hyper has a drive-through penalty. We'll have to wait and see what happened there after the race, but massive incident between those guys. The McLaren either got forced off wide or had a moment that sent him off wide, and as he came back on, he collected another car. And huge shunt as we're watching now the battle for the lead. Albini on hard tyres, really pressurising the Ferrari of Howard here, who's on a fresh set of mediums. He sticks behind him at the moment. The Mercedes will have DRS going down the main straight here. And we'll see. I expect there'll be a move sooner rather than later. And behind them as well, you can see there, battle for third place as Harrison might be making a move in the background. And in fact, he is. He goes round the outside into turn 1. And the Haas on the fresh soft tyres makes his way up into the final podium position. But further forward, you can see these two now battling. DRS closed for the Mercedes. He's going to try the switchback move out of turn 3. But the Ferrari has it covered for the time being. But DRS back open on the Mercedes. He's in the slipstream. Will he be close enough to attempt a move going into the hairpin? He sends one down the inside. They managed to avoid the contact going side by side through turn 4. Brilliant racing by the two at the front of the grid here. But Howard defends for the time being. He holds on to that lead of the race here on lap 9 of 36. Further back, Leon has got back past Harrison into the podium positions, but you can see there the red light flashing on the back of the AlphaTauri. That means he is very low on battery, and if you look closely enough, you can see on the steering wheel of the Haas as well, he is also very low on that battery. So these two really pushing on these early stages. As you can see, there's a bit of weaving going on in front as Albini looking to make the move back into the lead of this race. And he'll look to try and make the move yet again here with the DRS heading up the hill, but I think he might be a little bit too far back this time, so he'll probably set up the move heading into turn 4 instead. But these are the two main battles in this race, that's for certain. The battle for the lead and the battle for third place. You can see them both on screen there as Albini sends it to the outside. Looking to go all the way around. Instead, will he go for the switchback? No, the Ferrari shuts the door on him. And he holds on to the position for now. But further back, these two are still going side by side. Harrison on the outside of the AlphaTauri. He's going to go all the way around the outside. And then he'll get himself up into third place yet again. But this battle in between these two is costing them big time, because look who's behind. The second AlphaTauri of Flame has arrived. Leon lets him through there. Bit of team orders potentially between the two teammates. We'll wait and see what Leon can do. He's made great progress in this race so far. You can see him there, up 7 positions, up 5 positions for Leon as well. So great race by both the AlphaTauris. But it certainly seems that Flame is the man with more pace at the moment. And here he goes, making the move into third place, going past Harrison. The move done well before they even reach the braking zone at turn 3. And Flame will now go after the leaders who are going side by side through turn 3. You briefly saw it on that camera angle there. Howard being knocked down into second place. Albini taking the lead once again. So we have a yellow flag in the second set. So that's for Hyper, who's had a bit of a moment. And he'll get himself going again. The yellow flag will be cleared. Crazy setting the fastest lap there in P9 at the moment. Just a few seconds back from 8th place JE. But keep an eye on the gap between second man Howard and third place Flame. That is going to keep on ticking down. It was at about 2.5 seconds. Not too long goes. Big moment from the Ferrari there through turns 9 and heading into turn 10. He has to catch the massive slap of oversteer and does well. He's still within the DRS and still has a healthy advantage to the AlphaTauri behind. But big moment there for the Ferrari. Howard did really well to save that one. Seeing Crazy is not at all happy with Hyper for their incident earlier on in the race. A few expletives being said over the team radio by the Alfa Romeo driver. He certainly believes the McLaren was fully at fault for their collision, and from what we saw, he might have been, as we're riding on board with the Ferrari. Howard going to try it all the way around the outside, has to back out a bit as Albini uses all the track on the exit to close the door. But look on that camera angle, it shows it perfectly. You can see that gap to the AlphaTauri in third place, coming down and down. He is now well and truly catching these two. 1.2 seconds the gap. Remember, you got to be within a second to get DRS and open the little flap in the rear wing to benefit from some extra top speed. And he is gaining and gaining as we start lap 13 of this race. We're just over a third of the way through. Still have 10 people running in this one as it stands. And we'll stick around to watch this battle for the lead, because it's certainly where the action is. Howard thinking of a move. He has to take evasive action there, heading up into turn 3, just outbraking himself slightly in comparison to the Mercedes. But this is where the battle is, and you can see behind them, I believe, Flame may be just about within DRS range here. So you see a bit of a tank slapper from the Mercedes on the exit there, putting the foot down a bit too fast and losing the rear end. But this is where the action is at the moment. Further back, Crazy has made his way up into P8. He's got past JE, who was ahead of him. And the Alfa Romeo driver looking to recover from, well, he had started right at the sharp end of the grid, but a bad start coupled with being collected by the McLaren has certainly scuppered his race so far today. And we'll see if he's able to salvage something from it. He's currently sat in P8, about a pit stop behind the guys ahead. And in fact, he's out of the race there, and we will see a second safety car in this one. Crazy, I believe he just lost the rear end potentially on the way out of the corner. We won't see it as his car has already been removed by the stewards, but by the marshals. But yeah, I think losing the rear end there, coming out of turn 4 and 5, and that has caused the Alfa Romeo driver to be our 4th retirement of this race. The AlphaTauri drivers saying to each other in the chat that they are playing the team game here, and it is certainly working so far. Flame has got himself right up on the back of these guys. Now the safety car is out. And yeah, brilliant strategy from the AlphaTauri drivers, with Leon not holding up his teammate, and that's allowed him to close right up to the leaders. And he is well and truly in this battle. We see Albini pulling into the pits with Howard, with Flame. Does everyone else follow them in? Harrison comes in, Leon comes in. We'll see what tyres they're all putting on. Albini switches to a set of the mediums. Howard to a set of hards. What else have we got going on for these guys? So, Coro Outbreak is going to be the man to lead us around behind the safety car. He has opted to stay out on his 8-lap-old hards. The Alpine driver will take the lead of the race. As you see there, the safety car just collecting him at the top of the hill. In fact, I think the Alpine briefly overtook the safety car, and we see Albini overtaking the Alpine, which may cause some issues with the game, as these guys will try and sort themselves out. And yeah, I think the Alpine braking too heavily has potentially allowed the Mercedes to get through. In fact, oh no, it's only a 3-second penalty, so they have managed to sort it out between themselves. You can see there, everyone has pitted so far. Few people already doing 3 stops in this race. And a lot of people out on fresh hard tyres. Albini out on fresh set of mediums. Howard in 3rd place now on a fresh set of hards. Ravi Spaghetti has managed to jump Flame here and get himself up into 4th place. Both of them on fresh hards as well. Harrison in the Haas on 5-lap-old hards, with Leon pitting for a fresh set of mediums. JE on the hards, and Hyper has stayed out and is on a set of mediums. we go, just replaced my batteries that were about to run out. Not an ideal time for that to happen. But thankfully, with the safety car out, it hasn't meant we've missed any action. While we're behind the safety car here, as we see the McLaren of Hyper has pitted. He's come out on a fresh set of hards. And is just making his way to the back of the grid now, so I expect one more lap behind the safety car. We'll wait and double check that as it comes across the timing beam. Indeed, yep, at the end of set 2 it's not been called in, so we'll have one more lap behind the red safety car. But looking at the incidents so far, we've had speeding in the pit lane, a few severe collisions in there. We had the drive-through for Hyper for the big crash with Crazy, which unfortunately saw him DNF as well later on in the race, which you see there. But thankfully nothing going on between behind the safety car at the moment. As you can see there at the back of the shot, Hyper has rejoined the back of the pack, so we expect the Mercedes safety car to pull in at the end of this lap. Hearing from the McLaren of Hyper that he just lost complete traction as he tried to rejoin the track in that incident that saw him get a drive-through for the collision with Crazy. Thankfully they did both survive that collision, but Crazy, as he said after a time, it did ruin his race, so I'm assuming he sustained some pretty hefty damage in that, as we see the safety car is in this lap. And it will accelerate away from the field as they drop down the hill past the Verstappen grandstands. Normally on a race day they would be full of orange, cheering on the Dutch driver in what is Red Bull's home race. The only Red Bull driver in this race unfortunately retired earlier on in the session. So you can see Kuro really not holding up the grid here. We'll ride on board with him. You see the safety car coming in there. We'll look over his rear wing here, see when he launches, and he goes now, and he gets a decent enough restart. He's only got a few tenths of a second to the man behind him, but he will hold the lead further back. You can see drivers going in and out of people's slipstream, trying to make moves. No overtakes there on the restart, but Kuro hasn't had the best exit out of turn 1, and up the hill they go. He's going side by side, the Mercedes of Albini. Will he be able to hold the position going through turn 4, not going up towards turn 4, sorry, not quite. Albini takes the lead of the race. We've also got Howard going up the inside as well, so he'll regain P2 on his fresh hards, and Flame's going to make his way through as well for P3. Socorro dropping like a stone early on after this safety car restart. He's all the way down in 4th place now. Harrison has also dropped back quite a lot. He's down in P9. Further back we've got some battles going on as we ride on board of the nose cone of Hyper in the McLaren. He is currently in P8. And looking to make up for what was a pretty spectacular crash earlier on. As we see in front, Leon thinking of making a move on the Alpine of Kuro. He's now down to P5. He goes up the inside. There's contact. There's big contact. And round they go. Leon's been spun around there. He'll try and get himself going. Leon and Kuro spin around. And well, we weren't quite on the onboard camera, but that looked like either a case of going for a move that was never on, or turning in on the other driver. Not too sure about that one there, but the two of them suffering big time, and they're down to 8 and 9 at the moment in this race. Another collision here. We're on lap 19, just past the halfway stage. As we see further back. Oh, Harrison's gone off there. What's happened to the Haas driver? Interesting way to be facing the wall in that situation. He's going to drop to the back of the field and try and see if he's got any damage. Can't really tell from that camera angle. It looks like he's got both end plates, so he may be alright to continue without having to pit. But back out at the front is where the main battles are at the moment. Flame, the main man to watch at the moment. He's had brilliant pace since his teammate let him through. And now he's right on the back of the top two. Albini surprisingly not being able to get away on those medium tyres. Howard is still within 1 second of him and not letting him escape, and we have a four-way fight at the moment for the lead. All four drivers within 1 second of one another. As you saw there on the timing board further back, we had an overtake being made by Leon to get himself back up into 7th place and get past Coro Outbreak. But the main battle for the time being is on board with this AlphaTauri in P3. He has at least one penalty to his name. We'll have a look at the penalties later on in the race when they become far more important. But he is within a second at the moment. DRS open. They're starting to drop the Williams of Ravi Spaghetti. He is currently P4 at the moment. He's finished P3 in both the opening rounds of this season and is the current championship leader on 27.5 points. But these three are the ones to watch in this race. They're really trying to get themselves in and involved in the championship fight. I believe it is the first race that Flame has been in as well this season. Yeah, first race of the season for Flame, just like Albini, and Howard has raced in one race. He raced last time out at Australia and won there. So Howard, the only one here to already have points on the board out of the top three, and they'll be certainly wanting to close the gap to the Ferrari man. See Flame trying to pressure the Ferrari into a mistake there heading up into turn one just by getting all in his mirrors, and he's certainly got the better exit here as we head up the hill towards turn 3. He's on the outside, Flame. That will turn to a switchback move potentially. No, he tries to hang it all the way around the outside. He's got the traction and it's going to work here for the AlphaTauri. He gets himself up into 2nd place and now he's going to bear down on that Mercedes of Albini. Howard's really not trying to let this position go, but unfortunately for him, he's going to have to settle for 3rd place for the time being and maybe look to make the overtake later on in this race. He has to remember he doesn't have penalties here so far. If we have a look at the detail for them all at the penalties, both of the drivers ahead of him with 3 seconds of penalties. He has none yet, so that could be crucial come the end of this race. You can also see the penalties for the drivers further back in the field. Certainly worth noting all of those. As we see another penalty there for the Aston Martin in P6. I'll take him up to what I believe was 9 seconds. Yes, it was. As we see a move here being made, or wanting to be made by Flame. He's going to force his way through the inside. No contact made between the two of them. And he has to dip out and back into the slipstream. He has the DRS and going down to turn 4. He's going to be forced to the outside here. Can he send it all the way around the outside? They're going side by side. A little bit of wheel banging. But Albini gives him the room on the exit, but holds on to that position for now. 8-lap-old mediums, seemingly not the way to go at the moment, as the 8-lap-old hards are coming into their own in the hands of Flame in the AlphaTauri. He's certainly looking like the man with the pace at the moment. He'll ride on board with the Ferrari behind him. About equal gap between these 3 drivers. As you see a bit of a slide from Flame there through turn 9, that certainly cost him a little bit. Loses a bit of time to the Mercedes, just that dirty air catching him out through the fast right-hander. A little bit of oversteer as well from Howard, had to correct that on the exit of turn 1, but this is the battle at the moment. It's a three-way fight for the lead of the race. They're certainly giving us the entertainment here with 12 laps to go. And I think we may be about to see a move here for Howard. Will ride on board with the Ferrari and watch this one play out. He's ready in the wings if these two collide, but Flame gonna go for the move. Albani launches it back down the inside, but Flame goes for the switchback, and they remain side by side here as they head to turn 6. It's a left-hander, which means Albani will have the inside line, but they're still side by side as we go down the hill to turn 7. Still side by side through 7. This is fantastic driving between the two of them. They do get a little bit of wheel banging, and it means Flame does have to cut the corner slightly. Howard rubbing his hands together now. He's all over the back of the two of them. Has to stay behind for the time being. Few yellow flags in the background. I think Ravi and JE have both had separate spins there. That's actually allowed the McLaren of Hyper up into Q4, but this is where the battle is. This is where our attention should be at this time. Flame versus Albani for the lead. Howard waiting in the wings to pick up the pieces should he need to. Both have DRS on the leader. We almost were thinking of a 3-wide moment for a second there, as Flame looked for a gap, and so did Howard, but Flame has the run now out of turn 3. They're at the highest point of the circuit here. Albani's going to squeeze in towards the inside. Flame has that inside line. Can he get the move done finally here on lap 25? Flame makes a move stick and he gets himself up into the lead of the race. Albani not willing to let it go though. Flame hasn't shut the door on him yet, and finally he gets that move done as they head down the hill into turn 7, and Flame now leading the race in the AlphaTauri, and he'll look to accelerate away if he can. You see JE has DNF'd and left the session. Tough break for the Aston Martin. We're down to 8 drivers here left at the moment. As we see the Mercedes playing it tactical there. You saw as we were riding on board with the Ferrari, the Mercedes did not open his rear wing. He did not want to make the move into turn 1. Instead, he's thinking about the move up into turn 2. He's going to go for the outside line. The Ferrari's there as well. As we look over the rear wing, the Mercedes and the AlphaTauri side by side at the top of the hill. But Flame holding on for the time being. The Mercedes of Albani shutting the door on Howard. He does not want him to get through there. And in fact, it is the Mercedes making the move, in fact, down the inside. But there is Flame making the cutback move again. The side-by-side heading towards turn 6, almost banging wheels as they go through the left-hander. But yet again, Flame able to hold on to the lead here. Fantastic defensive driving by Flame. He had the DRS on that last straight, but the Mercedes had the top speed to be able to try and make the move. Is he going to think of a move almost there into turn 9? That would have been an unconventional place to make an overtake, but he will stay behind for the time being. Three-second time penalty there for Albani. Losing a bit too much of the track. Stewart's not happy with that one. Is he going to go for the move up into turn 3? He remains behind instead. He'll go for the move instead at turn 4, I imagine. Worth keeping an eye on that gap back to the McLaren as well in P4. We've got 5 seconds back to him at the moment, and that gap keeps ebbing and flowing. He is on a lap fresher tyres, but that won't make too much difference in the grand scheme of things. Oh, spin for Albani! He loses the rear end. And so does Howard. Howard spins on the exit as well. Oh, drama here at Austria, as the two men fighting for the lead, or fighting to take back the lead of the race, both spin going through the second sector. We didn't see if there was any contact that caused the Mercedes to spin there. I don't believe there was, but I'm not sure. Albani coming into the pits, we'll see if he makes a nose cone change here. That will give away if there is. In fact, no, he just retires here. Instead, there was no nose code change being made by his pit crew. Instead, they were just swapping to the soft tyres, so it just seems that Albani lost it by himself there, potentially. Going through turn 6, it seems from his team radio afterwards, he's not happy with people that readied up immediately at the start of the race, so I'm assuming he was unhappy with the balance of the car and the setup. But, well, simultaneous spins from the Mercedes of Albani and the Ferrari of Howard has allowed Hyper up into second place, and more importantly, it has allowed Flame, who has a big moment there through turn 9, a huge snap of oversteer that he has to catch, but that has allowed the AlphaTauri to escape at the front of this pack, and he's now 7.8 seconds clear at the front with 7 laps to go, and we could be looking at a debut win this season for Flame in the AlphaTauri. His first race of the season, and now he is comfortably out at the front, and in fact it is a bit of a procession at the moment, because 7.7 seconds back from him is Hyper coming through turn 3, and it's 2.8 seconds back to the Ferrari of Howard in third, a further 4.5 seconds back to Ravi in fourth, and then we've got an even bigger gap, 10 seconds, nearly 11 seconds back to the second AlphaTauri of Leon, who you have to give props to Leon in this race. In fairness, he has gained a lot of positions. If we show the position change of everyone, he's up 5, his teammate though up 10, but that is in no small part to the work of Leon in this race. He let his teammate through early on, he didn't hold him up, and that allowed allowed Flame to close up to the lead battle, and well, he is now ultimately leading this race because of that. So big props to his teammate there, who's still running around in P7, doing a good job here. As we see, Flame has come into the pits here, interestingly. So pitting off what were 20-lap-old hards, in fairness, 15-lap-old hards I believe his were, which are an old set of tyres, but he's saying in the chat there that he kept on spinning his rears. We saw his massive oversteer moment coming through turn 9, and he's decided rather than risk it and risk potentially crashing out on those old hards, he's picked for a fresh set of softs here with 7 laps to go on lap 30 of 36 here in Spielberg. And well, now it could be a good time to look at the gap to the leader. It is Flame in P4 at the moment, and unfortunately we can't actually see his gap to the leader, but we can assume it's about 7.3 seconds as we see him making the move here on Ravi Spaghetti, getting himself up into third place into turn 9, and well, Flame is going to chase down that leading group now. He's got at most 7.9 seconds to gain on the leader, who is currently Hyper, or was Hyper. Hyper's out. Hyper's crashed on the exit there. And you can see him, he's lost the rear end on the exit of turn 1. And it will be a third safety car in this session. And, well, I think Flame is not necessarily lucky here, but certainly if he had a bigger gap to Howard, Howard could have really benefited there and been able to make essentially a free pit stop in this race. Instead, Howard will definitely drop back, and it will no doubt be to second place in this one, as it will no doubt come into the pits at the end of this race. We're down to 6 drivers remaining in this session. As we see a bit of a moment there from Flame, but the safety car is out. You can see we've already had a pit stop by Harrison. He's back out on a fresh set of softs. In front of him we've got Coro outbrake as they have to brake to stick to the Delta. So Howard into the pit lane, Ravi Spaghetti in behind him as well, and I assume we're going to see a fresh set of soft tyres going on these guys. Indeed we do. Howard strapping on the red wall soft tyre, behind him the Williams of Ravi Spaghetti, will do the exact same. There are the red soft tyres going on, the quickest compounder tyre, and it's essentially going to be 3 or 4 quali laps to end this race, as we'll have a sprint to the finish. Howard will return to the track in P2 with Flame there, you see on our camera, leading the way behind the safety car. Ravi will come out in 3rd place. We've got Leon coming out of the pits as well. He's going to be in P4. Also on a fresh set of softs. Interestingly, Cora Outbreak does not pit behind the safety car. He instead stays on 25 lap old hards. Those tyres are going to be crying out by the end of this race, but he stays out rather than potentially risk getting lapped. I think he would have been alright to pit behind this safety car, but he does stay out, and Harrison behind him on fresh softs as well. Now will be a good time to look at the penalties as well. 3 seconds for Flame, 0 for Howard and Spaghetti. They are the two who are going to be very keenly trying to stay within 3 seconds of our race leader here. He needs to accelerate away when this safety car comes in, which will probably be next lap at a guess. And he needs to absolutely sprint away if he wants to win this race. Behind them, the other 3 all have 6 seconds, so there's no real worry that those guys could potentially get back past them here, as they will all have penalties to serve. As we see, Cora Outbreak is now coming into the pit lane, and he'll strap on a set of the soft tyres as well. Piper out of this race soon. He feels he might have had a chance at the win had he still been in there. He feels like after Flame pitted, he would have battled with Howard for a lap or 2, and those softs don't last forever. They would have eventually gone off, and well, Piper felt confident that he would have had the pace in hand to be able to keep the AlphaTauri behind him, but we'll never know, unfortunately for him, as he is out of this race, and we are behind safety cars. 6 drivers of the 13 that started are still remaining here as we're on lap 33. The safety car will be in at the end of this lap. We are going to have a 3-lap sprint race to the finish, and it's going to be led away by this man, XPG Flame, leading the way. Behind him, you see them there, he's got the Ferrari of Howard and the Williams of Ravi Spaghetti bearing down his neck. Both of them do not have penalties, whereas our leader has 3 seconds. Can he accelerate away? Will the drivers behind him pick up penalties themselves as well? Or can even one of the guys behind them in 4th, 5th or 6th mount a surprise charge for the lead as well? They do have 6 seconds of penalties, all 3 of them, but you never know around Austria. We've seen an extremely exciting race here around Austria, and now we wait for Flame to pick his moment, and that moment is now. He puts his foot down as we head on to lap 34. Here we go, 3 laps to go in this 3rd round of the season for Hyper Motorsports, and we'll see who is our 3rd race winner of the season. Looking over the rear wing at the moment of Flame, Howard is thinking of making a move potentially up into turn 3. He stays behind for the time being. They're only going to have 1 lap where DRS is available to them here, and that will be on the last lap of this race. So keep your eye out for drama there, but Flame looking to try and run away at the front, and he is not doing so at the moment. He's only got 0.4 of a second to the Ferrari behind him, who is putting him under immense pressure for this lead at the moment. So that gap goes up to 0.5 second now, as Flame really looking to push here. They're looking to extend his lead as much as he possibly can. We'll look at the gap to each other. You can see everyone within a second of each other at the moment, but it doesn't matter as Flame sets the fastest lap of 105.3. We're on to the penultimate lap here of this enthralling race at Austria. And it's still Flame who leads, but it is Howard who is in the driving seat at the moment. He has no penalty. He only needs to keep it within 3 seconds, of the leader to win this race. But behind him, he has that Williams bearing down his neck, who also knows if he can get past the Ferrari, he is in the exact same boat, as both have no penalties. As Howard looks to make the move up the inside, down into turn 4, he dives it up the inside, and he's going to get that move done by the looks of it, but back comes Flame. They're side by side as they head to turn 6. The Ferrari up the inside, but Flame hangs it all the way around the outside, and he holds the position. It's a fantastic move to get that first place back from the AlphaTauri, and he holds it for another corner. Flame is doing enough to hold the lead on track, but he's not doing enough to hold the lead overall. He has that time penalty. And you look at the red light, it is flashing. He is low on battery as DRS is enabled here. As we go on to the final lap now at Austria. All 6 drivers within a few seconds of one another. There's a yellow flag in the background. There's contact between the two who could have won it. Howard and Ravi Spaghetti around. They're in P5 and P6. It's going to be Flame who wins as Spaghetti retires. The drama here on the final lap in HIM. You have not seen the like of it. Flame was for a moment looking like he wasn't going to do enough to win this race. Now it's going to be comfortable here for him. He is 2.5 seconds ahead of his teammates, who behind him, I think we're going to see an AlphaTauri 1-2 here as well. Between the two of them, we are as it stands. Look at the penalties. No, we're not! We're not! Flame spins it! Flame spun it! Going through turn 7. Oh, he had it in his hands. He had one hand on the winner's trophy, and he throws it away through turn 7. And instead, it's going to be Leon, his teammate, who gave up his position so early on. He claims the win for AlphaTauri here at Austria. And no, he doesn't! Howard wins it! Howard had time. He regained the time on the penalties. And the Ferrari, at the death, crosses the line to win. You have not seen drama like it, ladies and gentlemen. What an end to this race. I'm lost for words. We had different winners, 3 different winners in one lap there. And somehow, despite all of that, Howard wins it for Ferrari. And I don't think he can believe it either, judging by the look on his face there. Ferrari on the top step. He started from pole. He claims his 2nd win in a row. His 2nd win of the season. And what a race here at Austria. Oh, wow. I am lost for words. Howard wins it by a gap of, we'll wait and see, 0.4 seconds from Leon in P2. A fantastic drive, we've got to say, from Leon. He was well worthy of that victory had he claimed it. A fantastic drive from the AlphaTauri. He gave up his race initially for his teammates, but in the end he claims P2 behind the Ferrari. Coro outbreak P3 for the Alpine, with Harrison in 4th for Haas. Flame, after spinning at turn 7, he had the win. It was there ready for the taking for him, but losing the rear end through turn 7, he spun it and comes across the line 5th, with Ravi Spaghetti classified as P6 but retiring on that final lap. And there is your race, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. We will see. They are the provisional results now. We never know. We may see penalties after the stewards have looked at the incidents in that race, but what a race indeed. I hope you have enjoyed. If you haven't already, smash that follow button. Go and join the Discord if you want a spot in this league full of drama in that race there. HIM will be back next week, the 8th of December, same time, 8 PM UK time, for Zandvoort, round 4 of the championship. In the meantime, if you want to catch me on another commentary, I'll be back on Sunday, commentating in my native We Have Fun F1, and that will be at 9:30 UK time on Sunday. But make sure you drop a follow for Hyper, Motorsports. Follow this channel, join the Discord, get yourselves involved. What a race. And we'll see you next week for Zandvoort. Goodbye.